Hi, everybody, and welcome to the workshop. My name is Mike Payne, and I'm your host this evening. Scott Porteous is ill, or he's doing something else entirely. Maybe he has a family that he's tending to. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm doing this tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've got some great acts on the show tonight. I'm going to introduce you guys all right now. We've got Taylor O'Sullivan. Put your hand up.
Hey, y'all.
We've got James Ney. Amanda Kruel.
Hello.
And once again, I am Mike Payne. So this is going to be a lot of fun. The way it goes is this is an uncensored show. These are all fresh jokes. I wrote all of mine today, which is usually the case when I do this show. So there may be some bad words that you do not like. That is not my problem at this point. And if you really, really have a problem, maybe you can go fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Just turn it away, turn it off. Maybe go somewhere else. It's not a big deal. We're just working on new jokes. This is a lot of fun. So yeah, what'll happen is that we're each going to do a 5-minute set on a topic. Then we're going to do a feedback round of everybody, like just tagging it up and everything else. And we do encourage that the people at home do it as well. So please do comment on the video with any tags for the people that you're watching right now. And we will read them aloud and credit you for the input, regardless of how constructive it is. That being said, I'm going to get into my set right now. I am starting things off. Did I just get rid of? There's my notes. And I'm not some kind of savant. I mean, I am kind of an idiot, but I'm not a savant. So I am reading off my phone because I can't memorize that quickly. All right, so. When I was 15, my first girlfriend and I decided we were going to lose our virginities. And it was going to be at the same time together. So one day after school, we went back to my house before my parents got home so we could fuck. Problem was, we were locked out, so I boner jammed my way through the basement window. I kicked it in. Why? Because when it comes down to it, it's simple math. It's hormones plus pussy equals breaking and entering. And that's my topic, breaking and entering, everybody. No, it's B&E in general. So I hear a lot of that stuff. Funny thing is, I didn't even get any that time. My girlfriend got spooked by the sound of me breaking glass and the sight of my vandalizing my own bedroom window, only to look right at her and say, "What are you waiting for? Get in there so I can get in there." She went. That's so dumb. That's really dumb. She went home. See, this is the other thing. We may say some bad things, but most of the time we will correct ourselves by chastising ourselves. It's what happens. She went home and we broke up. I was left with blue balls and expectations. All right. But this is fucked up. A buddy of mine sent this one earlier today. Yeah, and I'll do it with his voice if you guys want. He said, this is so stupid. He said, "You broke and entered her vagina because virginity." Okay, Ryan, thank you very much for that. And it's not a very good impression, but people understand. All right. Last year, I stayed in an Airbnb in Scotland, and it was not what I was expecting. I'd say it was less an Airbnb, less of a B&B and more of a bed and eek fest. It was mediocre in every way imaginable. I mean, who fucks up bacon and eggs? Back to breaking and entering. What about criminals skilled enough to just open and enter? They are always grouped in with the idiots that can't pick a lock, fit through a basement window, or hold someone hostage. That's what I got for my not even 5 minutes, but on that topic. Thanks very much. That's awesome. Yeah, I got one. I like it. A couple Snickers in there. Anybody got any tags for me?
I like the breaking and entering virginity bit. I think you could go into that.
Yeah, maybe bring up the hymen.
Always forced entry.
Definitely throw in a butthead chuckle after the Beavis impression.
Yeah. Shut up, Beavis.
There you go.
All right, cool. Let's see. What did the people at home say? Got a couple Facebook users here. And all they said was, "Yeah, Miker." I must know this person. It doesn't show me on the feed who it is. Let me just switch over to
Ryan Sim.
Is it Ryan? Oh my God. That's who I blamed that line on. I lied though. He didn't say that. That was the guy. And yeah, he actually said, "Yeah, hey, that's not how I sound." Yeah, so he knew exactly what was going on. All right, cool. So let's move it along. Up next, we have Taylor O'Sullivan. Everybody put your hands together for Taylor.
Woo. How are you guys? So my topic was sermons. If you don't know what a sermon is, I'm not mad. God hates you, but I'm not mad. A sermon is when a priest reads a story from the Bible and then explains it to you like you're an idiot. A sermon is the comedic equivalent of when a comic tells a joke and then explains what it means. And then Jesus turned water into wine. All right, now what does that mean? Jesus is an alcoholic, but also kind of dope. I don't think if Jesus came back today, people would recognize him. They would just think he's a hipster with a cool party trick. But like, I wouldn't want to bring Jesus to a party. You only bring him to the party because he offers to DD, and to drunk people, DDs are saviors. But he's annoying at a party. He's like, "You want to know how I turned the water into wine?" No. And it's like, "Well, my mom's a virgin." And it's like, "We get it, you're adopted." And he's like, "My dad murdered me." And he's like, "Who let this guy smoke the angel dust?" I grew up going to Catholic school from kindergarten until senior year. This school would make us go to church every first Friday of the month. And then my parents would bring us to church every Sunday at 9 a.m. And I just realized that they brought us to church at 9 a.m. because we had to be quiet and they were hungover. So there's two sermons I distinctly remember. The first one was my 8th grade graduation. A bishop came to our school and he read a story from the Bible. And then the sermon was, he told us, "Don't be gay and don't masturbate." And I thought, great, I don't even know what those are. I better get home to make sure I'm not gaily masturbating by accident. When the mass ended, the teachers and the principals had like an award ceremony for all the 8th graders. And my best friend Matt got like best at math. And my friend Lauren got like most books read. And then I got most Catholic boy. How Catholic can a 13-year-old boy really be? Seriously, I don't know. None of my friends had killed anybody. They weren't sleeping with their neighbors' wives. I just imagined that they opened up the yearbook, saw my dumb face, and said, "Taylor looks like he's never masturbated before." And they were right. The second sermon I remember was for my senior graduation. That same bishop came to school and read from the Bible and then said, "Don't be gay and don't masturbate." He had 4 years to work on his material, and that's all he brought. It's like when you see a comic, an open mic comic, say he's done comedy for 5 years, but he's only ever done 1 minute or the same 5 minutes. Don't be gay and don't masturbate. And I thought, well, sorry. As of now, one of those is my favorite activity. I practice it every day. And as for the gay part, the jury's still out. There's one sermon I wish I did remember. It was for my little cousin's first communion. It was in Mount Vernon, Virginia. If you don't know what Mount Vernon is, it's where George Washington lived. And the priest lined all the 7 years olds up, and he said, "This is my body. Take it and eat it," which I don't think any person should say to another person, let alone a priest to a 7-year-old kid. And then the priest read from the Bible and did the sermon. But I wasn't focused because usually at church behind the priest, there's this painting of Jesus, usually like hanging with friends or on the cross. But because it was Mount Vernon, behind the priest was the body of Jesus with the 65-year-old face of George Washington. Because in America, George Washington is our savior. The mass ended and most of us went in peace. I say most of us because I get in the car and my mom slams the door and says, "Jesus Christ, did you hear that sermon?" And I said, "No, what was it?" And she said, "That priest said, don't be gay and don't masturbate."
Yeah.
So I don't go to church anymore because it's like a movie I've seen 1,000 times. I know the plot. All right, that's all I got on that.
That's awesome. You know, on that piece where you mentioned George Washington as your as America's savior,
Yeah.
Personal Lord and Savior, don't you think he could have miracled his way out of some fucking wooden teeth?
Or to being a better general. Like, militarily, he was not that good.
I heard you say better genital. I was like, all right. Well,
Yeah, there you go. I did like your opener, though. That was really solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
A lot of good stuff there, man.
If you're gonna go with angel dust, you could do something else with a pun there. Maybe angel
Yeah.
religion or something.
I had a reverse Tupac situation where it's like when Tupac died, they cremated him, and then all of his friends smoked him in a blunt. But this time, Jesus is crying in the corner because he thinks he smoked all his friends.
There you
I don't
go.
know. I thought it was a little dumb. But I have to try it.
There's certainly a lot of material in there that works really well, I think, on that.
Cool.
For sure. And the triple callback is working for you, too.
Yeah.
Well, me being pagan, I enjoy any opportunity to listen to Catholics bash the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you had that part with the you were just like naming what sermons could be or whatever. And I was like, this is so stupid. I just wrote down Rastafarian night. It's a sermon. Everything is Irene, ma'am. I don't know. It's so dumb and not allowed. Okay.
He's seeking dragons just so he can find someone to light the bowl, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else to add, guys? All right, perfect. Let's move it along. Thanks very much, Taylor.
Thank you.
Next up, we have none other than the infamous James Ney.
Woo! Hello. So my name is Ney, James Ney, and my topic is spies. Imagine that. Very first thing that anybody thinks of when they're thinking about spies is James motherfucking Bond. I mean, like, that's the spy. Suave, debonair, visibly shaken and not stirred from PTSD from the horrible acts of violence he's had to commit. And I honestly don't think spies look like that. I mean, I dressed the part today, but I don't think most spies look like this. I think they look like average IT guys who play D&D. D&D sessions are a perfect cover for clandestine meetings with CIA operatives. You just tell your friends and loved ones that you're going to play D&D and instantly take a -5 modifier to all charisma checks for the rest of the encounter. There you go. And I mean, no one wants to hear you talk about it in public either, and not even other D&D dorks. I think it's just a secret type of slang where all of the agents are able to talk openly in the Denny's and everyone around them is actively ignoring the conversation. I imagine this pasty-faced story of assassinating the King of Mirkwood and helping Chief Contras liberate the locals, which is actually just talking about war crimes behind a thin veil of being a fucking nerd. As for myself, I think I would make a fantastic spy for 3 reasons. 1, my name is James, so fucking nailed it. I'm invisible whenever they're bringing up my feelings, and I can keep a secret for years. Yes, those jeans really did make her ass look fat. All I'm missing at this point is a license to kill, high-tech wizardry, and a poorly named honeypot who wants to pump me for information. That's the word. And I mean, I've already got experience in the espionage racket. I'll shower with my sexual partners so I can spy on what their grooming habits are, It's kind of like a more thrilling and sexually charged Discovery Channel documentary. I once made the mistake of going full nature show host during such an experience. We both slipped and fell when I said crikey during climax. And, that's kind of a dangerous situation. You imagine that whole kind of thing She's like face down in the bottom of the bathtub, kind of bleeding out of her nose. I'm flipped ass over tea kettle. I pulled something in my groin, totally got a hernia. And all I can hear is Steve Irwin in the back of my head saying, wow, if they're not careful, they're totally going to, their relationship won't survive. Guess what? It didn't. And me, I have a bipolar, which is, a lot like being a CIA agent. Instead of destabilizing entire regions, I just destabilize myself. It's a lot like Spy versus Spy, where the only real winner is self-sabotage. And, Anxiety Spy wants to bug everyone's thoughts, so I know exactly what they think of me, while Depression Spy wants to be captured for interrogation just so I can choke down a cyanide pill. I think we need more spies with mental health illnesses and stuff like that. My preferred spy would be someone with dementia, because you just load them up with surveillance gear, send them loose wherever you want to gather information. And if they're caught, they'll just be led back to the tour group by security. Or worst case scenario, we lose a Trump voter, and I'm not going to try over that. But that's my set.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Who's got some tags for James? Yeah, let's everybody round of applause for James. All right, let's get to the tagging. Who's got some tags? Who's got some input on his set?
I liked the visibly shaken but not stirred. That went by a little fast, but I like that. You give that a little more attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my pacing on that needs a little tweaking there.
I thought that for your lie, when you're like, I'm a good liar, and your line about, I just thought your tag could be so much better and maybe more topical, just because she does look fat. Like the jeans did make her look fat. I just think you can do better than that. Like like for potentially, like Russians did fix the election.
Just Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Exactly. Like you can be so much more like that's a kind of joke that you can travel with, that will, like, you can just change to anything that is, as I said, topical and just appropriate for the time.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for chiming in. That's Ray Lockdust, everybody.
Hi. Here I am, and here's a essay.
No, it's great. All the input is totally welcome. Yeah. Anybody else have any more tags for James before we move on?
I would add just because I really like the idea of like mental illness spies. So I would just like quadruple down on that, because I think there's like so much potential to like expand in it, and just like when you have depression, you have nothing to lose, right? Even if you actually do, like something like that.
Right, and anxiety, that's the person that you have bugging everyone's phones,
Exactly. With my anxiety, I'm aware of everything already.
The guy with schizophrenia is working on the telepathy projects and like the men that stare at goats kind of style thing. There you go.
Yeah, like you already opened that door, run through it.
I like that point. Thank you. Chase
Bonin said, from depression without love, like James Bond movie titles.
Yes.
Can, like, run through a whole bunch of them. I think that's a really good idea. Yeah.
I like that.
Also, we kind of skipped over one comment from Taylor's set. Ryan Sim did say something along the lines akin to your Catholic boy thing. It was, I was such a Catholic boy that I joined the choir and only have fond memories. I was so Catholic, I thought the confession booth was an indoor outhouse.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, Ryan's a good man. Yeah. Anything else? Nope. Okay, cool. We're going to move it along. Thanks very much, James. Everybody give him a round of applause. All right. Keep those hands going, because our next up is going to be none other than the very funny Amanda Kruel.
Hi. All right. So when Scott told me my theme for this workshop, my first reaction was parades. What the fuck do I know about parades? But thinking about it, it's weird because I actually have really extensive parade experience. I've actually been in holiday parades for Mardi Gras, Chinese New Year, Martin Luther King, St. Patrick's Day, Labor Day. I've been in pride parades, costume parades, funeral parades, dog parades, even boat parades. 3 years ago, I got to see a parade where all the floats were just tractors decorated in different fashions, and that was in France. It's crazy. I owe my parade experience to my mom. Her life is really a long series of parades. Starting before I was born, every year my mom made floats with her friends for Mardi Gras parade in our hometown of St. Louis. And outside of New Orleans, St. Louis actually has the largest Mardi Gras festival in the country. The gateway city's biggest parade turned into the gateway drug that got my mom deeper and deeper into parade scene. As the years passed, she started doing more parades for more and more holidays. And when that wasn't enough, she moved to the parade capital of the world, Key West, Florida. If you've never been, just imagine San Francisco and New Orleans going to a circus on a tropical island. That's Key West. In Key West, Halloween isn't really a big deal because it's too small of an event. One day just isn't enough for all the revelry, so they have their own event called Fantasy Fest. It's 10 days of nonstop partying and parades. I guess some places just need more celebration than others. Anyway, after a couple years down there, my mom and her Toyota Celica were taking part in so many parades that she decided to fully commit by having her car permanently decorated. She hired a local artist named Captain Outrageous to paint her car so that it would always be ready for a parade. If the name of that artist doesn't make it clear, that paint job was not subtle or classy that Captain Outrageous did. The front centerpiece of the project was a huge painting of my mom's face on the hood of the car, followed by her royal title. See, if you're in parades in Key West long enough, you become island royalty. My mom's title was "The Lady Ain't Waiting." In any case, this is a red convertible, and the artist has covered it in stars and swirls and shells in bright pink and teal and yellow. And describing it, it sounds kind of cool, but I was not thrilled about it at the time. One day, my mom was driving me to school, and we had the top down, and at a stoplight, a school bus pulled up next to me, and I looked over, and it was all the other kids from my 9th grade class, and I tried to hide my face, but they all saw me. They knew it was me. They started pointing and laughing, and I've still not recovered from that incident. In any case, I had forgotten about all this stuff until I sat down to really think about it. You'd expect a child to suppress memories about being forced to do beauty pageants, not parades. In any case, it made me wonder, what was my mother's childhood experience with parades? Did she make me do parades because she was forced to as a child? Maybe she wanted to participate, but she wasn't allowed. Either way, I had to wonder, was this obsession just a result of my mom overcompensating for some childhood parade trauma? The world may never know. Actually, the world will know, because I asked her and I got the answer. So, growing up, my mom was the only girl out of 4 children. As many girls did, she played with dolls. Nothing wrong with that. But her brothers must have found something wrong with that, because one day they took all of her dolls, cut all their heads off, mounted them on sticks, and marched in a parade back and forth in front of their house on the sidewalk. A murdered doll parade for their sister. So, childhood parade trauma is a thing. Fortunately, my childhood parade experience was trauma-free. At ages 6 and 8, my mother had my sister and I tossing out beads on a Mardi Gras float in a parade, which seems like it might be a bad idea, but this was before Girls Gone Wild, so we didn't even get to see one boob. I guess that's a little bit traumatic. In any case, that's what I have.
I feel like I know you better now. The part where you were talking about Key West, I just thought it was such a missed opportunity to do some like weird slogans in there. You know,
Ooh.
Like you could do where the sharks and the gators get married, or where hurricanes and Jesus duke it out. You know, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travel
That's fun in that area.
I like the brothers of your mother, your uncles. It sounds very much like Mad Max, and that's its own parade.
Mhm.
Just, but yeah, I've got written down, parades are marathons for lazy people.
There you go.
You could even relate like the murdered doll parade to like some of the scenes in things like Pet Sematary, stuff like that, or Children of the Corn, like creepy kid-based horror movie plot lines would be a good thing to tie in there too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
More pop culture references in general would help in there.
Yeah.
I think I have two notes. With I've liked the ninth grade like convertible story.
Mhm.
That is awful, and act like it. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Like I can't forget it. No, I relive it constantly every time I see a bus. Like just again, like just there's you can play around with that so much. It's such a horrifying thing to happen.
Mhm.
And then with the beauty pageant comparison with the parades, I really liked that. I think like again go bigger, like big hair, big flowers kind of comparison. You want to be the parade queen and do a tie-in and see like getting everyone to look like little dolls on parade, which would then make your tie-in with the dolls. I think, wow, call that powerful.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, James, Taylor, anything else?
No, I had my comment on there. I think like really just adding a lot more like pop culture stuff will help tie it to relatability for others.
Right.
Well,
yeah, you can even
may
use
not
it as
experience
reference, right?
Sorry?
Sorry, I cut you off a little bit there. My audio keeps kind of coming in and going out. So if I cut you off, I do apologize. Go on with what you were saying.
But yeah, just having that be like a relatable thing where people who may not have seen that in their own experience to relate to will totally have seen iconic movies, especially with the way they're getting remade. That's a way you can keep it fresh. Like one that would work right now really well would be It. Or something.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's like it's a funny, my mom and that whole part of my life is like it's very funny and absurd, but it's just so out there that it doesn't make sense unless it's really, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Also kind of reminds me of the first Toy Story movie where like the toys attack kind of thing and like level of creepy kind of element to it.
Yeah, your story is super personalized, which I really like. But I think you could throw in some act outs of like your mom, getting you excited to go to a parade or, what happens in Key West. And then like, there's ways to take it from just being like this super personal story and experience and being like putting people into it with it.
Not just my experience, but okay, makes sense.
Did you give us many names too?
I don't think I did.
No, I think that helps connect, because everybody has a Mike in their family or everybody has like a John in their family. So you're connecting with their own personal experience layered with the nostalgia that comes with half of the references we use because we're of an age to a certain extent, right? I think you got something there. Just got to punch it up a little.
Fun fact. So you mentioned everyone has a Mike and a John in their family. Of those three brothers, two of them were Mike and John.
Well, there you go. I look at you and I can see an Andrew in there somewhere too. Maybe I should go to the palm reading. I don't know.
Possibly.
Okay, great. This is awesome. I guess we'll keep it going. We didn't get anything from the people at home on that one, unfortunately. But if they do chime in with something about it in a little while, I'll read it out for you. That being said, we're going to move it along to our final act for the first half, and that is none other than the amazing and wonderful Ray Lockdust. Put your hands together, folks.
Woo! Hey, hi, and hello. I was given the fun topic of Comic-Con. So I am a convention veteran. I did my time, 12 years of it at Comic-Con. I practically came out of the womb in costume, which was very shocking to my parents who met at a Halloween party and were drawn to each other because they were the only ones out of costume. So I think it's like very easy to say that my lifestyle disappoints my parents in many ways. I would go to, I love costumes. It's a very important part of my life. And I would go to high school I went to a uniformed Catholic high school, and I would show up wearing over top of my uniform, tutus, tiaras, and cat ears, everything. So cosplay was a natural hobby for me to fall into. So I was honestly, I'm just sidebar, I was the perfect person to get this topic. I'm calling it. So I was told that going to a convention out of costume was just as bad as going to the mall in costume. And having recently gone to the mall dressed as a fairy, yeah, I made myself a costume. So I decided I would be Pan from Dragon Ball GT because we had the same hair at the time. And as any Dragon Ball fans will know, that was not the right character to choose. And as any anime fans will know, that was not the right anime to choose.
No.
So as I said, I am a cosplayer. You can Google me, but please don't. So my first con was Anime Con 2008. It's been rebranded so many times. I know it's still happening. I don't know what it's called anymore. Oh, God, I just sound like my parents talking about me. When I went to that convention, I had a great time. They gave me a free pass to my first Comic-Con, and then it just kind of rolled on. And now we're going to do a time skip. 2 years later, 2010, Fan Expo. I was ready. I was going to meet Adam West and Burt Ward, Batman and Robin themselves. So I go up to the celebrity booth, and I see Adam West there, sitting there, sunglasses on, all cool, arms crossed. And I walk over to him, and I give him my word vomit. He graciously accepts it. He smiles. Well, he kind of smirked, but it was a smile. He raises his hand up, and we have a little fist bump. And in that moment, I realize my fist has just become Batman. And that's good news for all righty. So I head over to the Burt Ward booth, and I see him there being charismatic, smiling, shaking hands with everyone. He's so handsome. I walk over, and I give him something worse than word vomit. It was a form of verbal excretion that I will try to recreate, but I make no guarantees. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. I've been such a big fan. I've been watching ever since I was a little kid. And oh my God, my mom's also a really big fan. She's had such a big crush on you. And she told me to pinch your bum. But don't worry, I'm not going to pinch your bum because that'd be weird. Why would I pinch your bum? But don't worry, I won't pinch your bum unless you want me to pinch your bum. And while I'm saying this, I look over and I see like some guy with sunglasses on, his arms crossed, just like laughing at me. And I'm just like, who do you think you are? But I focus back on Burt Ward, and I finish my excretion, and I'm just like, thank you so much for letting me talk to you, and I'm sorry about all the butt stuff, and will you just like please punch my fist? And he is, hey, that's great and all, but that's Burt Ward. Okay, I'm so sorry. Just like everything I said minus the butt stuff, unless you want the butt stuff, just forget the butt stuff. I'm so sorry. It's nice to meet you. Will you please punch my fist? I then had to explain to Burt Ward what a fist bump was because he was very confused. And he raises his hand, and I tap his fist, and I run away. And as I'm running, I realize I'm dressed like a splicer from BioShock, which, for those of you who don't know, is a zombie. So I think I left an impression. Yeah. The end.
That was great. Thank you. I like the end part. The end.
The end.
I liked your set, and that was good. I like
you.
the storytelling style that you have, and I really like that you were speaking directly to niche, because I think that we need more of that. Like I could picture you developing that more and more, like in that, like on the topic even, and you could potentially, I don't know, do shows at Fan Expo even. Yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah, and it's not really that done. So
I have a question. Were you saying that your parents were like anti-costume?
It's a complicated relationship.
My parents
were not in costume when they met. They are very boring.
Okay.
They're just like, costumes are awkward and weird. And I'm just like,
maybe you could go with that somewhere and go like, this is a reaction that they had to something that you did, that because you mentioned like the cat ears and stuff like that. So you could animate their reaction, something that I should do with mine. But I really liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked when you were fangirling at Burt Ward thing. Because I've done the whole Comic-Con thing. I know exactly what you're talking about there on a lot of that. A good way to close out that bit would be to do something like, yeah, we're basically married now, or something, and like just drive hard into that fangirl delusion humor kind of thing. Would be a good way to close that out. Even introducing like and he's into the splicer thing. I made sure of it, or something like that. It would be also a good way to help sell that that concept, dangerous fan concept.
Yeah, and so I was so embarrassed that I threw a smoke bomb down and disappeared. You know?
Oh yeah, kapow!
Yeah.
Was Adam West and Burt Ward dressed up, or were they in street clothes?
They were in street clothes.
I wonder if how do they relate to your parents? Or it's like, oh yeah, we don't like costumes anymore.
Oh God.
It seems more like they were trying to do the spy thing with like the incognito glasses, just that full circle. It worked apparently. Now I'm never going to question Clark Kent again. Put on sunglasses, no one will recognize you.
They were labeled like.
You're just excited. It's okay. It's all right. I got to meet Winnie the Pooh and Vader Zim. Who else was on stage? God damn it, Sokka. And anyway, there was a whole bunch of really famous voice actors that read the part of the script as their characters to Back to the Future. It was the scene. So you hear Winnie the Pooh as Marty's mom. When Marty's mom discovers, well, basically is taking care of him after he's hit by the car. Remember? Do you remember the scene? It's like Calvin Klein or whatever. You hear Winnie the Pooh say that. It's ridiculous. We did have a comment here for Amanda said, actually. It's from Ryan Sim, our friend Ryan Sim. Example of an act out could be Common Amanda. Come on, Amanda. We got to go to the parade. Come on, Amanda. I guess it is. Come on, Amanda. We got to go to the parade. Rumor has it Jimmy Buffett will be there in pants. Oh, pants. Runs off. And for Ray, we have once again Ryan Sim. He said, "Hey, don't worry. If Robin can forget all the butt stuff, so can I."
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes the first half of the show, I would imagine. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of our actual set. So basically, everybody's going to do 5 minutes. I'm not really tracking, so if you want to go over or under, it doesn't really matter to me that much. So we'll do the same thing, just with our actual own jokes that are non-topic based. Although there is a topic in them, which makes me think I should probably say all that all over again. What do you think? No, let's just get into it. Okay, first up, we have the very funny Taylor O'Sullivan, everybody. Put your hands together. Come on.
Woo! Yeah. Woo-hoo. Taylor's my name. Taylor's a girl's name. When you hear the name Taylor, you picture a sorority girl drinking White Claw with her sorority sisters on a beach. Not this. Since quarantine started, I've been trying to grow a beard to look more manly. And I went into the office the other day, and my coworker, Daryl, said, "Taylor, how long have you been growing that mustache?" And I said, 3 months. And Daryl said, "I could grow a better mustache in 3 days," which is mean, but even meaner because Daryl is a 65-year-old lady. That same day, two coworkers I was hanging out with, Georgia and Lauren. Lauren said, "Taylor, your beard makes you look 5 years older." And then Georgia said, "Your beard makes you look like you keep 5-year-olds in your basement." Which was mean, but also kind of nice to think that she thinks I have enough money to afford a house with a basement. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and for the first 6 months, my couch moonlit as my bed. But yeah, my dad played in the NFL and the MLB. So growing up, he told me I could be whatever I wanted. So I became a disappointment. In college, I signed up for a Chinese class, and he said, Taylor, you're not smart enough for that. So I dropped it. I called him back and I said, Dad, I signed up for a math class. And he said, you're not smart enough for that either. So I dropped it. But the joke's on him. My first job after college was working at Panda Express. General Tso's chicken, $11.99. Out of 20, let me call my dad real quick. Pretty sure I'm an idiot. It's been a pattern in my life. In college, I was dating this girl, Sarah, and I wanted to impress her. So I said, come over. What do you want for dinner? I'll make it. And she said, pasta. And I said, that's great. That's one of 3 things I know how to make: cereal, toast, and pasta. Cereal being the coldest and soggiest, toast being the driest and warmest. So she comes over and we're having a good time, and I serve her the pasta. She says, Taylor, this is pasta, but where's the sauce? And I said, you said pasta. And she said, you're an idiot. And I said, I know that. How do you know that? And then she said, I'm leaving. And she did. Another example of me being an idiot was in high school. I was hanging out with the cool kids, and all the cool kids and cool kid Pat were talking about how awesome 69ing is. And I said, Pat, I'd 69 with you any day. And he said, Taylor, do you know what that means? And I lied. And with the confidence of a naked old man in a gym locker room, I said, yes. And he said, what? And I guessed correctly. And he said, Taylor, you're right, but I don't think you can eat lunch with us anymore. And I said, that's fine. I already ate. I'm afraid of dying, but not in like a cool way, not like a James Bond way. I'm afraid of slipping and falling in the shower because some poor paramedic is have to go into the shower and find my naked body. And then they'll be like, go check out this guy's tiny dick. And then my parents have to go to the morgue and ID my body. And my mom was like, yep, that's Taylor. He gets it from his father. Let's see, besides being voted most Catholic boy, in high school junior year, I was awarded hottest bod on the swim team, which is weird because the teacher was the coach as well. Yeah, just kind of bouncing around. My coworker, Asif, called me Tay-Tay, which is a nickname I have at the office. Personally endearing, professionally stunting. He said, Taylor. He said, Tay-Tay, and I said, Asif has a foot fetish. And he said, yeah, no. And I was like, dude, stop flip-flopping on it, man. Just jump in feet first, baby. I had to talk to HR after that. All right, I'll get out on this. So tonight, my friend texted me. She said, Taylor, my roommate and I are going to take some ecstasy. If you want to hang out, we might have a threesome. And I said, no, thank you. She said, seriously? And I said, yes. I have to do a Zoom call. And she said, you've got to be kidding me. And I was like, honestly, I think it's a better use of all of our 5 minutes. And at least on a Zoom call, I know I'll get a turn. All right, guys, thank you so much.
It's awesome, man. That was great.
Did
I sense a little bit of the influence of Mike Birbiglia?
You're not the first person to say that.
A little bit in there.
So yes.
Yeah?
Somebody definitely said that before.
I love him, so keep that up, you know?
Although in your first part of your set, there was a part where you brought up, being named Taylor and the whole White Claw thing, and it made me think of your first set when you brought up Jesus at a party, and the whole idea of him turning water into White Claw sounds hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Oh, I like that. I like
That's
that.
really good.
Water into White Claw.
I really loved the line where you said, like my dad said I could be anything, so I was a disappointment or something. I'd like give that a little bit more time because I almost missed it.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else?
For the 3-way joke at the end, I just have like an alternate tag. I don't want to be the fourth wheel. Just completely misunderstanding the point. And then you can still go into your same jokes after, because then of course you get the joke after.
I don't want to be the fourth wheel. It might provide too much stability.
I like that.
All right. Well, that's all she wrote for that one. Thanks again, Taylor. There we
Thank
go.
you all.
All right, next up, coming to the stage right now, hilarious guy. We heard him 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago. It's none other than the hilarious James Nay. Put your hands together, guys. Come on.
So I brought up earlier that I have bipolar, and what that is specifically for me is type 2 bipolar, which is the constant conflict between anxiety and depression instead of mania and depression. Yeah, I know, super heavy stuff. Everybody likes to start on a downer. But basically, the whole thing is when living with a mental illness, it's a very bizarre situation because nobody gives a shit. And like that's just the way of the world. And with the whole quarantine thing that we've got going on, like I had to go from doing therapy sessions every other week where I would drive to his office and talk to him, to doing Zoom calls, to him getting sick and no longer being able to practice anymore. I don't know if he's alive. That's kind of where I'm at when it comes to the whole quarantine situation. But I also kind of got me thinking about that whole thing as I've been reflecting on my own without a professional guidance to help steer me in the right direction. That when I started going to therapy with him, I had broken up with my most recent girlfriend. And the reason I had done that was because I could only be in one committed relationship at a time. If I was going to be opening up to this guy all of my deepest, darkest secrets, it felt like it would be cheating on my girlfriend because no way I'm going to fucking tell her that shit. And like it really put a strain on things because like I stayed living with my girlfriend for 7 months after we had broken up and till everything hit the fan in January. So, you know, dating's been hard. Definitely now. I mean, especially I'm living in my mom's house, so I gotta hope that people still have a fetish for 32-year-old guys that live with their mom, and that works for people. But it's also been hard because, you know, going to the whole long distance relationship with a therapist, it's just not something that I think really worked. And I think Joe was just faking the whole sick thing just because he wanted to let me down easy, kind of thing. He's like, "You're depressed. I don't want to tell you. It's not you. It's me. I got the black one." And I mean, like, I've always been in these kinds of weird relationships. Like, I was even married once, and the wedding reception was really, really cool. We had a Joker and Harley Quinn themed wedding, which I thought was a beautiful reception, but it was definitely very telling of the kind of relationship dynamic that we had. I looked great in spandex and can do all sorts of cartwheels, and she was an abusive psychopath. And I mean, yeah, I'm definitely feeling better now. I mean, like, it's a little weird not being able to leave the house still, and everybody's asking, where are you going? Are you wearing protection? But they're just talking about a face mask because, I mean, no way in hell anybody's hooking up right now. I mean, they shouldn't be, but Americans, they're pretty petulant and ready to do anything for popping off, you know? That's my time on that one.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. Give it up for him, guys. Woo! Good set, man. Going through it sounds like that's part of that set was part of your process. So like really you're just getting the ideas out there. You're gonna start to like punch it up as it goes. So it's like earlier in the process. Am I correct?
Actually, it's a bit that I have not done in a long time because we've been doing all of these Zoom things. That was actually a bit that I had prepared for stage comedy.
It does feel more stagey.
And like having that audience interaction is what it was written for.
Yeah. I liked it though. I like the fact that you were able to be so open about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have tags?
I liked it. Sorry.
Go ahead, Amanda.
I was just gonna say I liked it, and you touched on a lot of the stuff that's in my set next, so that'll be fun to follow up with.
Yeah, I love the bait and switch of the Joker, the Joker joke. I thought that, like, when you said you broke up with your girlfriend because you want to be in one committed relationship, it almost sounds like the two of them, the therapist and your girlfriend, together make one whole person.
Yeah, like, that was definitely kind of the thing on a lot of that, but yeah, that was one that I had written actually back in February for a Love Stinks comedy show. I had just been kicked out of the house, so I was pretty raw and visceral going to the stage with that. So I think that's probably why I've forgotten most of that sketch. I'm not in that mental state right now.
Fair enough. Ray, did you have something?
I would love you to expand on the, like, no one has a kink for 32-year-old anymore, and just like go into like cougar fetishes.
Funny you mentioned cougar fetishes because
Oh boy.
like, when I was right after I had graduated high school, I'd gone off to college, but I didn't jump into the whole bi-curious thing. I was definitely cougar curious, though. I moved into a 30-year-old's apartment who used to be a dominatrix out in fucking St. Paul kind of thing, and it was just kind of I'm gonna go live my own life and make my own mistakes, Ma. And she's just like, all right, good fucking luck, you goddamn moron.
See you in 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, I had more actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. That note I can't read because my writing's horrible, so I'm going to move on. And ghosted by your therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I think like if you did the buildup of like I think you kind of did it, but I think it could have been like a better switch of just like, oh, this relationship and this is how it is, and then we ended it because I met someone else, someone I could really open up to, someone who listened to me, someone who cared for me. They were my therapist, and it's been great. And then you can go into, but I think I might have opened up too much. I think they can't handle it because they're ghosting me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. It kind of goes back to like the notes I was giving you on like the dangerous fan concept kind of thing, but towards the therapist. And
wouldn't it be worse though if they picked up the phone and then they just went, I'm really sorry, I'm feeling too full today emotionally. I don't have space for you inside.
Well, that's just if I need that, I'll just talk to Mom.
Oh, space inside your mom. All right, cool. There's a comment from Ryan, of course. I'm hoping people still have a fetish for 32-year-old men living in their mom's basement, or at least really appreciate the smell of fresh laundry and homemade cookies.
There you go. Aww. I do like the Steve Gerwin comment. Cougar Curious there. That's pretty solid.
The Cougar Curious. I was a regular Steve Gerwin. That's a very Ryan joke. I know him in real life. If that wasn't apparent. Awesome. Do we have any other tags before we move on? Nope. Okay. Perfect. Thanks very much, James. It's awesome. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Woo. And keep that applause going for none other than the very funny Amanda Kruel.
Hi. All right. So I just want, a lot of other times you hear people talk about their marriages. Like James was just saying he was married. I am also married. And I actually just had my 11-year anniversary. And I know it's not, I shouldn't brag about this, but it's like, it's the perfect marriage. Like, we never fight. We let each other have our own space. We love each other as much today as we did the day we got married, which is not very much because it's just like a joke marriage. I mean, it's real marriage legally, but we just got married as a joke. The thing is, we got married in 2007. And back then, there was a lot of controversy over the issue of gay marriage because people thought, oh, if you let gay people get married, that'll destroy the sanctity of marriage. So my friend Casey and I were like, hey, we can destroy the sanctity of marriage and be straight. Let's do it. In any case, my longest actual real relationship just hit 10 years, and that is with my therapist, Dr. Joyce Carter. Love her. It's kind of interesting because mental illness seems to be like a prerequisite for doing stand-up. You guys notice that?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. In any case, the thing I'm working on right now is like codependence. And so I don't know if you guys know anybody with this or if you have this issue yourself, but you guys have heard of somebody being called like a doormat. You know, I'm not a doormat. I'm not just going to let you walk on me. I'm a welcome mat. I'm going to beg you, please stomp on me, wipe shit on me, and then I'm going to buy you lunch. It's a pretty bad situation. But I did recently order the book. It's called Codependent No More. And if the goal is for me to stop unnecessarily doing stuff for other people, maybe I could get somebody else to get it from the mailbox for me. And then it'll be like a step in the right direction. And instead of me being offering, it's like me taking help from somebody else. I think that would be a good first step, but it's been in the mailbox for about a week now, and I haven't had the courage to ask anybody yet. In any case, I do think I'm getting better though, and it's good for me at least. But if I do get better, life is going to start sucking for quite a few leeches. No more free lunch or rent or weed. So what are you going to do? Anyway, I think one of my favorite things about living in the 21st century is with the internet, we've got a new sexual revolution going on, especially with like the dating apps. You know, you can download an app to your phone and swipe right 100 times, and you can get laid in like an hour as long as you've got no dignity or standards. Pretty impressive. You wouldn't believe it, though. Things are getting really specific with these dating apps. Like some people are getting political with it. I recently heard about a dating app that's for environmentalists who are really submissive. And that app is called Collard Greens. Yeah. The other thing, though, if you're on the other end of the political spectrum, say if you're a lumberjack, there's a dating app for you too. It's called Timber. Yeah. You can download Timber, find your match. Just don't use that match to start a forest fire. Anyway, it's fun to do all this stuff and have these good times. And but there is something serious that we need to talk about, and it's not easy to talk about, but it's protection. I know you lose sensitivity, it feels unnatural, but all it takes is one time. If you drop your phone without that screen protector, smashed. $300 to repair that. I don't want to deal with that. Good thing is, though, I figured out a way where I don't have to use condoms. I don't have to worry about STDs. I just only have sex with virgins. That's the trick. Anyway, I think that's what I've got for right now.
Awesome.
So,
Wicked.
Sailors are so pretty.
Yeah, awesome, man. Amanda, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
When you got into that last one with the without the phone protector, where was I going? I totally lost my train of thought there. There was something else that I thought you were going to touch on. Anyway, I'll get back to you when I remember eventually.
I was expecting masks.
That's it. I thought it was masks. I thought it was going to be masks because of the pandemic, and it was like that's kind of a perfect tie-in, and it's not hacky, you know?
Yeah, this is like an old set from like November pre-masquerade.
There you go.
I like that.
You say pre-masquerade, and I start thinking vampires because I'm that kind of nerd.
Hey, dude, I used to play Vampire the Masquerade in high school. I played Werewolf the Apocalypse as well. Yeah.
Oh, dude, awesome! I just made
we're all kind of nerdy here, believe it or not. Oh yeah, I still collect comic books. I can't believe that that's still considered to be a nerdy thing to do, though. It's not. It's so mainstream.
Yeah, I think that like the culture of like geekisms has changed so much that it's hard to actually peg down like what activity makes you more of a social outcast now, because it's just so common and mainstream. And easy to get swag, and I love it.
I feel like a nerd because I haven't seen any of like the comic book movies of the last 15 years. I feel like that makes me a loser.
It
Yeah.
kind of does.
No one's gonna defend you. We're just like, oh yeah, weirdo.
This is that mental illness.
Yeah. You know, you can actually get the box set for the 22 movie series now of the MCU stuff, or you can get
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus,
Yeah, like you can pay the $6 and.
I'm going out with a real collector. Like she's got crazy amounts of things. She bought all of those Barbie Star Wars figures.
Okay.
Kept them in the package. You know what I mean? They're away in a they're in the window, sort of. But she actually went to the trouble of putting a UV filter on the window. Not nuts. She's very, very committed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was married too, actually, up until last year, myself, and that was a whole lot of fun. Mostly dealing with someone else's mother dying. You know what I mean?
Oof.
Like that'll take years off your life.
Better than somebody else's mother living, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the problems with my ex.
For sure. You know what's weird? Since this pandemic has gone down, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure most people have been watching a lot more porn. And I mean, I don't know if any of you have had this experience, but I saw someone that I know in a porn. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to stop? Or should I finish to acknowledge their body of work?
You have to support your friends.
Listen, all I'm trying to say is that I'm just really glad that my brother got a job and that my stepmom found her passion. You know?
There you go.
Oh, I just slipped that one in there. Oh!
Oh. Did you ask first, though? That's the problem.
What's that, sir?
Did you ask first, though? That would have been the problem.
You just go. It's like it's like going up to the drive-through and dude, where's my car? Consent? No consent. Yeah. All right. That's gonna be a meme one day. Okay. Any other tags right now? No? Well, we got a couple, I think, in our, or just one anyway. Let me just see who it's from. It's probably from Ryan again. Yeah, it is. Okay, so Ryan Sims says, only having sex with virgins is the original break and enter. That's a joke for Mike from his set so long ago. Okay, I'll go, guys, now. Bye. Thanks, Ryan. I hope you're gone. No, I hope you're here. Giving us tags, man. We got to stick around.
I did have another tag. I'm so sorry. I get distracted so easily. Sex with virgins gets creepier each year.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Oh, and I also really liked that you were bringing up codependence and mental health issues, but also doing stuff in a way that I really respect, where it's not attacking other people for having something. It's looking at yourself and what you've got as a method to ridicule the nonsense your brain is telling you for the nonsense that it is. And I think it was really awesome for you to write about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Having sex with virgins is like drinking fine wine. The older it is, the more socially acceptable.
Okay.
Now I'm just thinking about box wine. Thanks.
And legal. Okay, let's move this along. We're coming to the end of the show, guys. We've got one more performer. By the way, Amanda, great set. Give her a round of applause, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, let's keep that energy flowing for our final act of the evening. She is our absolute headliner. Really funny lady. Please put your hands together for Ray Lockdust.
Hey, hi, and hello. I am just going to start off with saying I am undercover. I am not a woman. I'm actually non-binary and use they, them pronouns.
You know what? As soon as I said it, I was like, uh-oh, I assumed a pronoun. I'm sorry about that.
You assumed wrong. Yeah, I heard you. I'm totally stopping my set to talk about pronouns for a second. Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, I heard you correct yourself because you referred to yourself as they and then you switched to he. And I was like, I know what you just did. Don't hide.
No, I am a he him, but it's
Oh, no, not you, James.
Oh, James.
James said something
James
earlier that corrected themselves, and I was just like, I am suspicious. I
Yeah,
see
no,
you.
it's been a new thing. Like this actually, like I'm living this
Yeah.
as of Pride this year. So
Congratulations.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. It's so tough. And
hey, that's the man is them. Hey, good job, them.
Yeah, there's so many options. It's fun. Like with like for fangirling, for example, I just say fanning because like
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are always options. Anyway, I'm going to reset and then do the funny.
For sure.
Reset.
Rewind. So, hey, hi, and hello. I am a professional makeup artist, a catering specialist, and inspiring comedian. And you know what that means? That means that I was already unemployed before COVID hit. I have been self-isolating. I have been getting a little lonely. So as you can imagine, my arms are very tired. That was a masturbation joke for the people at home. When I was a kid, I was afraid to masturbate. I was raised Catholic, shocker. And I made this deal with myself that every time I wanted to masturbate, I would work out instead. So like I was a very jacked and angry teenager. And like, as you can tell, I've been masturbating. As I said, I was raised Catholic, but it was more of like fake Catholic. So it was like no cool art or cathedrals, but all of the guilt. When my grandma died and everyone was like kissing her body and like kissing her goodbye and everything, I was just like, oh, well, I have to do this too because it's what everyone else is doing. So I leaned in and I gave her a smooch and I got a mouthful of makeup. And I guess that's where I got the taste of the art form from. I've always been like really nervous about the idea that God's always watching, but I haven't let it affect me too much. Like with my girlfriend, for example, whenever we're having sex, like she tries so hard to the point where I call out to God, which seems really unfair to her. Like, why is he getting the credit when all he's doing is watching? When I was a kid, I did tell myself that if I grew up to be a lesbian, I would just become a nun, because that was the perfect workaround. So I guess in a way I've just grown up to disappoint God. I don't know how obvious it is, but I do have anxiety. I am an extrovert with social anxiety. So as you can imagine, that means every social interaction is like when you get a notification on your phone and you think someone's going to talk to you, but it's just an update. Or like when a push door has a pull handle, or when you see a dog at the mall and you go to approach it and realize it has a service vest. Poor hardworking doggo. I would liken if I were to say I had a Zen garden, it would just be a litter box. Lately, I've been having some intrusive thoughts. I've been struggling with them a lot. I've been having intrusive thoughts about children. Oh God, not hurting them, having them.
Yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time with my niece, and like she's a really cool kid, and I love her. But like sometimes she contributes to birth control. When the pandemic was first starting, I took her out for dinner and I was telling her the importance of like washing her hands and like, you know, dabbing when she sneezes. And she was just like, oh, that's gross. And I was like, oh, you can just wash your arm. Don't worry about it. And she's like, okay. So we're eating dinner. We're having a nice time. And then she grabs my arm, sneezes into my elbow and goes, oh, well, you can just clean it. So yeah, that added like another 10 years to when I want to have kids. As I'm sure you can imagine, my parents are very proud of me. I I did have to give them some bad news at the dawn of puberty, though. It was something I kind of thought I would grow out of, but I accepted it was a part of who I was, and I sat down my Catholic Italian mother and my standard redneck father, and I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm a vegetarian." They're still not over it. I have people ask me, like Ray, as a vegetarian, do you make your partners also eat vegetarian? I don't make my partners do anything, as long as I'm still on the menu. As I mentioned, I do identify as non-binary, and I'm also pansexual, which means that for me, gender is a lot like my unicycle. I don't have a unicycle. I do, however, have a bicycle. I prefer to call it a pancycle. It's just harder to explain to those outside of the cycle community. Being who I am as a person, which is a bit of a slut, I have been friendly in the Tinder scene. And in my studies, I have discovered that it's actually like easier to get a penis than a pizza. And the penis always comes faster. One of the perks about dating me with the anxiety and the issues is you get to introduce me to your friends as a rescue. As you can imagine, my therapist was nervous about me getting into stand-up. She told me to be really careful about self-deprecating humor. I looked at her and I was like, Kim. My self-esteem is a lot like my Christopher Walken impression. It's not very good. I know what you're thinking right now. She's funny. Hey, she's so funny. Y'all, my pronouns are they. Thank you.
Oh, that last one tickled me like Daddy used to.
Oh, I like the pancycle part.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just thinking it does identify as a couple, but it keeps trying to bring in a third wheel. And I don't know, it's kind of like borderline too talked about right now, but something about your niece and her name is Karen. You know what I mean? Like you can.
Oh my God.
You can do that with it, and some days she really is. You know what I mean? You just say she really is, and then just leave it that.
I like that.
You can even start talking about indoctrinating your niece as like a Karen for good.
Oh, that's great. I like a Karen for good.
Social justice Karen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall, I really liked the flow of the set, and there was a lot of the only because with the whole she's so funny thing, that one got me really well there, but also the whole Cam thing over that was really good. But when you do the whole mom, dad, introducing your mom as Italian and going mama, pa, or something like that to kind of sell the background that you had just introduced with them would be really, that's a good opportunity to slip that.
Yeah, I like that.
I have a question. When you were saying, I can't remember what you said, or like your Zen garden, did you say litter box or letterbox?
Litter box.
Okay, it took me a second. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. A letterbox. It's just filled with this information that stresses you out. Like, it still works.
Yep.
It's Google, isn't it?
Also, I was thinking, since you mentioned being Catholic or raised Catholic, and I don't really remember much of what you said, but you could definitely, I feel like you could go into it more about how or I guess my question is like, I'm wondering, what was it like growing up? Like, were you able to be your real self in that environment, or did you have to like hide or something like that? That's just where my brain goes. So, but I
Yeah.
really like you said.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What, kitty cat?
Do we have a guest speaker?
Who's that?
Introduce us to your friend.
I feel like there's an opportunity.
Camera. He's a very noisy boy.
Well, let me see.
Wanted love.
He's so cute. I feel like there's an opportunity to assume your parents' gender somewhere in there.
In what way?
Just like talking about, because you describe your dad's just a redneck and your mom's like Italian American or whatever. And but you could say, I don't really feel it's fair to call them mom and dad. I've never asked them.
Oh, yeah.
Just in that same vein, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we've got yet another comment from Ryan. Penises are a lot like pizza. They're always hot and ready, and guaranteed to be ready in 20 minutes or much less.
I like that. So funny.
You're a silly little bitch. Ryan Sim, everybody. Oh my god.
He's a secret star.
He's a great guy. From Hamilton, Ontario. Salt of the earth.
I'm in Hamilton now.
Are you from Hamilton?
No, I'm from Oakville. I'm just like in Hamilton.
Oh, are you? Okay, before now, I assumed everybody was American. So you and I are the Canadians. I'm from Toronto.
Yeah, we're in a lot of like the same like Toronto groups. So like I know your name, and I like
Okay. Yeah.
that's it. Like your name's familiar to me, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to formally meet you as well. That's cool.
And really, the reason we're getting on the Canadian shows is America is definitely going to fall like the Roman Empire, and we're trying to get a work visa.
Yeah.
Okay. We fall. It's not, like we're way too attached to your doing well. So start wearing masks. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I look like a straight up fucking Naruto ninja every time I go outside because I have just taken to wearing costumes because it's like all holidays matter. I'm going to dress up like a fucking ninja today.
Do you have some shuriken contacts for that game?
Right?
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. It's good to meet you all. Am I missing anything, or have we forgotten anything?
Were you gonna do a set, Mike?
I could do something. Yeah, I could. I threw one in there at one point. I could do something if you'd like.
I mean, I just didn't know.
I'm going to be performing in Hamilton tomorrow, so that's probably best that I do. I don't even know where to start anymore, man, because I've written a whole bunch of new stuff, just random snippets. Even I was thinking about some of those old pervs in the news these days. These just people getting caught for diddling minors, and that's not news. That's been happening forever. It's just more people are getting caught for it. And I always think about how they look in their mugshots. They tend to look like a tattoo that's been through 2 wars and was buried with the rest of my grandma last week. Like a mermaid on a Sailor Jerry t-shirt fading away. Stupid ideas like that. Okay, let me pull something up here. Something actually real. All right. Some of these jokes don't even work anymore because of what's happened in the meanwhile, because there's some fairly political stuff. Here's one. I got my Ancestry DNA report last week. I did. I got it. It's fantastic. I learned a lot about myself. I mean, it confirms some pretty obvious things, like I'm half Scottish, right? But I did find out one thing I had no idea where it came from, and that's that I'm 1% black. I am 1% black from Central Africa. So you better watch your N-words around me from here on out, or I'll kick the shit out of you with the rest of me and get away with it. That's white privilege.
There you go.
Maybe it's still good. I don't know. Still kind of works. I also found out something that I really didn't want to know. I found out that I'm half from Oakville. That's a traveling joke.
I get it.
Yeah. on the deeper end, I do a lot of stuff about my family and me because I have 4 gay parents. It's an unusual situation. 2 moms and 2 dads. And yes, they do identify as that. Yeah, just a lot of life stuff. So, like, for instance, I have a superpower, and just like other superheroes, I got it through trauma. Right? Little Bruce Wayne, he lost his whole family right in front of his face, right? He grew up, didn't go to therapy, became Batman, right? Or Peter Parker, bitten by a radioactive spider, became Tobey Maguire. As for myself, well, I was molested when I was 12, and my superpower is it takes me a really long time to come. I am the tough nut. My arch nemesis is the Flash because he comes too fast. I got this. Yeah, this traveling joke's not bad. So I'm lucky enough. I've advanced enough to be able to travel for this job sometimes. Not lately, for obvious reasons. But when I do, I've kind of developed an unusual kind of, I guess, habit or hobby. I collect strange and unusual laughs. Like when I was, I did this, I actually performed for 400 addicts in a room. It was a Narcotics Anonymous convention. I have 11 years clean and sober, and so I get to do those kinds of things sometimes. And, you know, I'm sitting in the room, and there's several of these fucking crazy laughs going on. But one in particular, this one guy over by the exit, just standing up going, I went, are you okay? As he ran out the door into the night. Clearly he was detoxing. Another random show in the prairies. I was traveling through Saskatchewan, and there's just this random fucking guy in the audience that I thought was being I thought he was being sarcastic, because when I said a punchline, he would just go, ha! So I leaned over and I went, is that it? And the woman next to him leaned over and said, yeah, he's a minimalist. Now, last year, I had the opportunity to go to Scotland on a family trip, and when I was there, I couldn't resist, right? I ended up on a couple shows. And on one of these shows, there was one of those strange laughs, just like this one beautiful woman in the audience just losing her mind. She's just going, do you guys realize what's happening there? Her accent is so thick that she's rolling the R's that don't exist in the middle of her laugh. She came up to me after the show. She was like, oh, you're so good. Would you like to come home with me tonight? And I went, huh? Because, guys, I'm a Toronto 4. But that's how I found out that I'm an Edinburgh 11. Just simple traveling jokes, right? Simple stuff going through. I mean, like when I was a kid, I got bullied a lot. I got bullied a lot. There was this one piece of shit who used to go around our neighborhood on his goddamn big wheels. Do you guys remember big wheels? Yeah? It's like a cheap plastic tricycle, but your ass is on the ground. It's got like Hot Wheels and Ninja Turtles on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece of shit's rolling around my neighborhood taking pot shots at people's houses. Downtown Toronto. Just rolling around going, yeah, sure, they're imaginary bullets. That's not the fucking point. So anyway, I thought we were cool because he never shot at my house. So one day I'm sitting on the front porch with my dear old dad. That piece of human trash rolls up, parks right in our driveway, takes careful aim right at me and fires. I got up. I was so fucking pissed. Got up and I started to charge at him. And my dad reached out and he grabbed me and goes, sweetie, simmer down. Remember your asthma. What? Your dad's not gay as fuck? Shit really came in handy. Like when I was a kid, I got picked on a lot. And, oh, yeah. It's like my dad would let the bullies get that first punch in because he would appear behind them like a fairy out of nowhere. And his big man paw would come down on their shoulder and he'd lean in with his thick dick breath. You leave my boy alone or I'll make daddy leave mommy. And that kid was like, what? It's like, oh, fuck your dad. All right. Okay. I'm coming off a little homophobic. I get it. But what you guys don't know is that I'm gay. Culturally. Like, we are who and where we came from, right? I have 2 mommies and 2 daddies in that order, guys. I have 4 gay parents. It's true. I'm first generation heterosexual. It's a tough road. Long lines of immigration. Anyway, back to that shitty kid from 30 years ago. You know, the kid on his fucking big wheel? I finally figured out why he was shooting at me that day, guys. It's because I had a goddamn GT snow racer and he didn't. For the Americans sitting here right now, a GT snow racer is a sled with 2 fucking skis on it and a big thing in the front. It's like the Ferrari of sleds.
Oh, I'm in Colorado. We got mountains and shit. Like,
yeah, but you don't have GT snow racers, and I know that because I've been there.
Oh no, we have shitty ass toboggans, but like I could drive.
Yeah, or garbage can lids. I mean, all the other shitty kids had what? They had a crazy carpet, the fruit roll-up of sleds. You get your little brother to unpeel it and hold it down. You jump on, go down a hill, off a cliff, and die. So anyway, I found this guy's phone number and I gave him a call. I said, "Hey, motherfucker, do you remember me? Do you remember Mike Payne?" And he's like, "Oh, vaguely," because it was 30 years ago. Well, I said, "Well, I just want you to know, I just put a fresh coat of wax on my GT." And then I hung up the phone. 3 minutes later, he calls me back, says, "Mike, I know I hurt you all those years ago, but do me a favor. Go up to your front window and have a look outside." So I hang up the phone, go up to my front window, pull back the blinds, and what do I see? Well, it's a fat as fuck 40-year-old piece of shit on his goddamn big wheel taking pot shots at my house, guys. Don't hold grudges. It's never worth it. Anyway, that'll be it for me, I guess. That was a long one.
That was good.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Oh yeah, Ryan Sim said he'll be on next Sunday. So anyone else watching at home, watch for Ryan, of course, or any of us, of course. Thanks very much for watching the workshop. This is number 69, really number 62, but who cares? Because I made up the rules. My name's Mike Payne. Give it up one more time for Taylor O'Sullivan, James Ney, Ray Lockdust, and Amanda Kruel. We will put all their social media information on the video once it's posted. Okay, thanks guys. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you.